I'm joined here in the studio by Jonathan Isaby, editor of the political website Brexit Central. Thanks for being with us.
Afternoon.
So we saw Theresa May there delivering her speech in Downing Street yesterday, pretty defiant after the standoff in Salzburg. We've heard perhaps slightly more conciliatory words from Donald Tusk in his response to that speech. What do you make of the last 48 hours? Where do we stand now?
Well, I think you look at the way the EU has behaved over the last 48 hours and the defiance you heard from Donald Tusk and others, the way he went on to Instagram to effectively humiliate the British Prime Minister, I think serves as a reminder to a lot of people of why they wanted out of this club in the first place. That actually a country that's had a democratic vote to say this is not for us anymore, to then be treated like that by the European Union, makes you wonder why actually you would actually want to be a member of that club in the first place, frankly.
And you've got the Foreign Secretary today urging EU leaders to step back from the abyss, that they've got to make an effort on their part, as well as the UK doing what it can to come to some sort of deal in the next few weeks. Do you think they'll listen?
Well, they clearly have been listening over the last few months and didn't like what they heard from the Prime Minister in terms of the Chequers proposal. And I think we've heard from all parts of the spectrum of opinion, from the hardest core of the Brexiteers to the Remainers, that Chequers is basically dead, that there is not support for it from any juncture domestically, and indeed we've heard it directly from the European Union side as well. So I think what Theresa May needs to urgently be doing is recalibrating her Brexit policy, looking for a solution that would be acceptable both in Britain, the British people, the British Parliament, and indeed to Europeans as well, which I think would probably be something along the lines of the Canada Plus trade deal agreement that has been mooted for some time by a lot of people in the Brexit movement.
Yeah, but, you know, Theresa May talked about this yesterday, didn't she? And she said, yeah, there are other options that were being offered, but if we go down the Canada route, then we've got the Northern Ireland issue, which is a huge problem, as we know, for many, including the DUP. If we go down the Norway route, then that makes a mockery of the referendum. And she's between a rock and a hard place.
I think the issue of the Northern Irish border is being used and indeed abused by a lot of people who didn't like the result of the referendum we had in 2016 to create some supposedly insurpassable hurdle to finding a deal. The European Research Group of Conservative MPs just last week, 2 weeks ago now, produced a paper explaining how you could deal with these issues relating to the Northern Irish border, endorsed by very respected people like David Trimble, the former Northern Ireland First Minister who won the Nobel Peace Prize for his work on the peace agreement in Northern Ireland. So these hurdles are not insurmountable, but a solution clearly does have to be found.
Do you think Theresa May's position is now untenable? Do you think she can carry on?
I think she has to carry on, because I think the idea of having a leadership election inside the Conservative Party